Hey everybody, what's on your radar today? For somebody watching in the future, this is the day after, and there's, I got to choose somebody's language. A mob of protesters forced their way into the Capitol to try to stop the certification of the Electoral College vote. That's about as neutral as I can make it, although very few sources that I've been looking to have attempted any pretense at neutrality or objectivity. Everybody's pushing really hard on their narratives today. Of course. I mean, why wouldn't they? That has been de rigueur. Sorry, French folks, if I'm mispronouncing that. For the past more than 4 years, really. But it's certainly gotten much worse over the past 4 years. But yesterday, when I first learned of it, and I learned of it kind of late because I was doing a live stream from 2 to 5. But when I did learn about it, I tuned into Al Jazeera. Usually for big events like this, my go-to is either the BBC or Al Jazeera because, they're not here. While there is a sort of global neoliberal perspective that they respect in their reporting and in their framing of events, it's not nearly as bad as, the corporate media here in the US and its practices. And it's, severely tribalized, distinct narratives that you encounter. It's like this morning and yesterday, people were dealing with fragmentary information. Of course, we're all still dealing with fragmentary information, but it was really, really true yesterday. And this morning I tuned into NPR, and of course NPR's coverage was reprehensible. Absolutely reprehensible. And totally predictable. Oh my goodness, totally predictable. So I was texting yesterday, before the madness, with somebody that I know who's already in Washington, D.C. I'm going to actually go down there and join him next week. And he was... he sent me photos of the crowds, and he was talking to people, and, good people, he said. So, clearly there's some lunatics in that crowd. I mean, we've all seen the pictures of the guy bare-chested with the horned hat, or the fur hat, or whatever. I mean, lunatics. But not everybody there was a lunatic, and not everybody who, went to D.C. to participate in the protest participated in the violence. But I knew exactly what NPR was going to do. They were going to interview 15, 20, 30 people, and they're going to pick out the 2 or 3 most lunatic sounding people and, put them up as representatives of the mentality of everybody who was there in support of the president, in their belief. And I think it's probably a false belief, but I'm not wedded to either position here, in their belief that Donald Trump really did win a landslide election against Joe Biden, and it was only through, total chicanery and shameless vote stealing and ballot stuffing and all that other stuff that, it looks like Biden won. If you believe that, I'm not going to try to talk you out of it. I don't believe it. It seems unlikely to me. But neither here nor there on that score. What I've come to today, though, thinking about all of this, is one, and this is partly thanks to Static Warp Shell, but also just my own internal introspective process. I need to focus more of my effort on podcasting this year, specifically on free podcasts. That's the place where I have the widest reach. It is the communication medium that I have the best control over, just in terms of, how it's distributed, but also how it's produced. But I'm determined, I'm resolved, I'm committed to not being a source of righteous indignation for anybody. It's not my intention to validate anybody's anger. I'm not saying there isn't reason to be angry. There certainly is. And I myself feel anger on a regular basis, just alone in my apartment with nothing but, what I'll call the radio and the TV. But all of these signals come in via my router. They're all all my devices are connected via Bluetooth to that router. So this is really, everything is coming in over the internet. I don't have a radio, but I listen to NPR all the time. I don't have cable TV, but if I wanted to, I can fire up CNN, BBC, Al Jazeera. So I can watch TV, I can listen to the radio, just have to put those in air quotes. But it's ridiculous that just sitting home by myself, not talking to any other human being, I should be stewing in anger. That's not helpful to me, in terms of my health, in terms of my experience of living in this body, in this incarnation. I don't want to be angry all the time, and I don't want to be a source for anybody else to say, hey, I want to ride on KMO's rage about this or that. So definitely dialing back. I mean, not that I'm known as a ranter for the most part. I do a lot of unstructured monologues, which you could call rants, but I try not to, invest them with a lot of anger or indignation. But I know that does creep in sometimes. And when it does, it feels good, and it has a momentum. And actually, I think I'm more articulate a lot of times when I'm angry. But again, the business model of the mainstream media, since really the end of the Cold War, has been, there was a flirtation with making Islam the new enemy. But then they discovered it's a lot easier, it's a lot more profitable, and it's totally safe from a woke perspective to just make Americans the enemy of Americans. And, I have a small reach. What I do it's not gonna be a pivot point. It's not really gonna be a high leverage point. It's just so I can, at the end of my days, look at myself in the mirror, look back at my life and say, sure, I made a lot of mistakes, but there were moments of clarity when I resolved to do no harm, and I stuck to those resolutions. Sorry if I'm all silhouetted. I cannot help the position of the sun or where I am in relation to my destination. I'm walking to the grocery store. It's darned cold, and I have a neighbor who has generously offered me the use of her car, for such errands. But since the gym closed, I go days at a time without ever setting foot outside my apartment. And I wear this little device on my wrist that tells me how many steps I take each day. And often it's less than 2,000, which is... that just reflects a lot of time sitting in the comfy chair. Cat on the lap. Probably looking at the TV. It's probably on YouTube. But really, renewed focus on podcasting, which means this is the thing that has really caused me to not podcast nearly as much as I used to. It's the whole producer's role of booking guests. A lot of the people that who were my regular guests in the past, they're now articulating a worldview, a sort of paranoid us versus them worldview that I just don't want to have any part of, really. So some of them are friends of mine, and I'll still have them on from time to time, but much of my stable of, easy, regular, reliable guests, I don't want to have on anymore. And some of the people that I enjoy talking to, without explanation, don't answer my emails anymore. Free country, yeah. Ghost people as you see fit. But, some of these were people that, they were friends of mine, or so it seemed. And, when I think about why is it happening, my guess is that I have not joined the Blue Tribe in their, from my perspective, was pretty unhinged narratives about Trump. But now, and if there is any silver lining to yesterday's events, I think it's this, that Trump is pretty much, for the sake of his short-term ego aggrandizement, has sabotaged what would have been a cakewalk in 2024. I think he easily would have won the Republican primary in 2024. And maybe, the general election, depends on, who his opponent was. I think he easily could have beaten Kamala Harris. But that was before yesterday. I think at this point, the Republican Party, they've been more democratic and sort of rule of law oriented in terms of how they conduct their primaries. But I think going forward, they're going to be a lot more like the Democrats. They're going to be just nakedly ad hoc in shutting certain candidates out who they want out, regardless of what sort of absurd last-minute rules changes it requires to keep people off the debate stage. Still, it's going to be tough with Trump. What I haven't decided yet is how I'm going to deal with the Trump enthusiasts face-to-face, because some of my friends are Trump enthusiasts. And I think maybe the way to go, and I haven't really thought this through yet, this is just now occurring to me, maybe the way to go is just to state everything as a conditional. It's like, yeah, if the QAnon narrative is credible, then yes, these are the conclusions we should draw, and these are the things we should be angry about. And just leave it at that. And QAnon is sort of cartoon level of just batshit worldview, and I don't really know anybody who admits to it, who admits to inhabiting that universe. But I don't talk to that many people, face to face, in casual conversation or over drinks. Anyway, I'm still going to DC. I should be there for the inauguration. I'll be shooting video. I'll be recording conversations with people. And I'll share them with you. Some of it here, some of it via the podcast. Some of it, probably not much, but some over on Instagram, which is really my not Facebook, it is Facebook, but Instagram is my social media platform of choice these days, largely because my participation there is it's not word-based, it's image-based, which is, the attraction of Instagram, I guess. I find the interface infuriating, but fortunately, I have somebody who actually does the posting for me. She knows who she is, and thanks to her. All right. Well, you've heard me ramble long enough, and also my hands are getting cold, even though I'm shifting the phone from hand to hand and putting the free hand in my pocket. Oh, here's a funny little thing. The shorts, not shorts, I'm not wearing shorts. I'm wearing my flannel-lined jeans, which I only wear really when I walk to the store, and I don't wash them after each trip to the store. I pulled them on today in preparation for walking to the store, and there's a mask in each pocket. And then I pulled on, not this coat, but this garment that I'm wearing underneath, reached into the pocket, found another mask. And then this coat that I'm wearing, let's see, there's at least 2 masks in the left pocket. And here's 2 more. So, what do I have, 6, 7 masks on me? Alrighty. Well, you've seen enough of my silhouette. Although maybe not enough of beautiful Bellows Falls. See all this great hair hanging off the back here? Gonna get it cut right over there tomorrow. 10 a.m. It'll be my second COVID haircut. All right, I'm out. Talk to you later.